All right, we're back covering a preview of UFC. This week is UFC St. Louis, and as you could probably guess, it's in St. Louis. Headlining the card is going to be Derrick the Black Beast Lewis in the heavyweight division, taking on Rodrigo Colmeia Nascimento. Before we get into that, we're going to walk through the main card opener and then walk our way all the way to the main event.
Okay.
6 fights on the main card. Let's start it off with another heavyweight fight. Waldo Salsa Boy Cortes-Acosta taking on Robelis Despain, the big boy. This one's going to be interesting. You got the two fighters here. Cortes-Acosta is 11-1. He's 5-0 by KO and 1-0 by submission. In the UFC, or at least in his past 5, he's won 4 out of 5. 4 of those fights have gone to the decision.
Mm-hmm.
He's won once by KO, lost once to Marcos Rogério de Lima by decision. Despain is 5-0 in his last 5, but he's 1-0 in the UFC. He took out Josh Parisian by KO in the first round at UFC 299. What do you think about this fight? What's your first thoughts going in?
First, I'm looking at a guy that's 6'7", 261. Good guy.
Yeah.
84-inch reach, 77.8% significant strike accuracy.
Yeah, it's a big guy fighting a slightly smaller big guy.
Yeah. 6'4", 261. So 3 inches, but look at the reach though, man. 78 inches to 84 inches.
Yeah, I'm not a mathematician, but to me that looks like 6 inches. And if you ever have 6 inches of anything on anybody, you're a problem.
Yeah, you know, according to statistics, that's pretty,
Significant strikes landed, like this is saying, like you're. Now, keep in mind, this is only in fights in the UFC, so it does not take into account his
other stuff,
like regional circuit.
Yeah.
But in his one fight, he landed 23 strikes in his knockout over Josh Parisian. Now, Waldo Cortes-Acosta, he's kind of battle-tested. You know, he's done he's been in the UFC for a little while. He's had a few fights. I know a lot of times coming in and, having that difference in division, if you will, kind of changes things. So how do you think this fight's actually going to play out?
Man, I'm looking at these stats because I'm not going to lie and act like I know a lot about these two guys. I watch UFC a lot. It's just the newer guys. It's harder for me to keep up with these days with my schedule.
That's fair.
But I'm looking at, man, somebody's getting knocked out. If I had to guess, I'm thinking your boy Waldo was getting knocked out because Despain is 5-0, 5 knockouts. So
yeah.
Statistics say he's probably going to become 6-0 with 6 knockouts. The Waldo, I don't know why I'm saying Waldo because I don't want to mess his last name up, is a decision guy. Decision, 1 KO.
Right.
So he's going to try to stretch the fight out, but if one guy's trying to knock you out and one guy's trying to stretch it out, either one or two things are going to happen. Either someone's going to get knocked out or someone's going to get gassed. So I think someone's going to get knocked out, so I go with Despain.
Okay. So Despain is 100% as a favorite. He is the current favorite, minus 218. Cortez has never been the underdog in a fight in the UFC.
Really?
Yeah.
Might wake something up. Might spark something.
Yeah, you never know. It depends. I'm going to go as well, and I'm going to lean with you. I'm going to go Robelis Despain for my pick as well. I think he's going to win. I think he's probably going to finish Waldo Cortes-Acosta if I actually had to absolute guess on that one. Let's move on to the featherweight division. Featherweight division is 145 pounds. Alex Caceres taking on Sean Woodson. You got Caceres, who he's an impressive fighter. He's 21-14 in his career.
That's a lot of fights. Good God.
He's 3-2 in his last 5, 3 decisions, 1 KO, 1 sub. He does a lot of fight nights. This is kind of like the same tier as a fight night.
Yeah.
It's just not in the Apex. It's at a named location, so they give it UFC St. Louis. Caceres is good, man. He's hard to beat, but Woodson Woodson's so damn tall. He's such a big guy in the 6'2".
6'2" and the 145 pound. That's
right.
Huge.
He's a big problem. He's 11-1-1 in his career. He's known as the sniper. I mean, he's 4-0-1 in his last 5. He drew against Saldana at UFC 278. But he's winning by decision. He's long. He's hard to keep it on the ground. Charles Jourdain is a notable wrestler in the UFC.
He beat him.
Charles Jourdain could not keep him on the ground. Sean Woodson is so long. Caceres, statistically speaking, he does go to the ground sometimes. He does look for submissions. This is one where I think, the favorite's going to win as well. I think Sean Woodson's going to win here.
Yeah, I mean, Sean Woodson is listed at 6'2", 145, but let's keep it honest. He's probably walking around at what?
Probably like 165, 170.
That's huge, man.
And also take into account that reach advantage, 78 inches to 73 and a half, 3.5.
Another situation where we have a tall guy versus a short guy relative to each other. Not going to keep this too long. I think Sean Woodson wins by knockout, maybe first, second round.
That's fair. The dude's got long hands, and he's got power behind him. Yeah. Next, keeping it relatively small, guys. Lightweight division, 155 pounds. Diego Ferreira taking on Mateusz Rebecki. So, Ferreira, 2-3 in his last 5. He's been finished all 3 of those losses.
That's not good.
But his most recent fight was a knockout victory. Maybe is that kind of the comeback tour? We don't know. We'll see. Rebecky, on the other hand, is 5-0 in his last 5. 3-0 in the UFC. He's got 1 decision win, 1 KO win, 1 submission win. He's 19-1 in his career. I mean, he's lost literally the one time. He's a heavy favorite at -425. A southpaw fighter, which, as uncommon as they are in other sports, they're more common in the UFC, but they're just as hard as a thing to deal with.
Especially with an orthodox fighter. You're right.
Ferreira, on the other hand, against southpaws is 2-4. So it makes me want to go with the betting favorite, Mateusz Rebecki. I think he's going to keep that undefeated UFC record and move to 4-0 in the UFC.
So once again, another reach advantage, but we're going to go with the guy with the shorter reach. All because, look at the stats. One guy mixes up a little more, does look like his finishes are different. He got subs, he got TKOs, he got decisions, so he can do a little bit of everything. And he is that southpaw. Whenever you watch a fight and you have a southpaw versus an orthodox, that jab that comes straight down, it's killer, man.
Yeah, it's like a blind person. Man, you never see it because you
never see it coming.
You're used to an orthodox fighter throwing that right. It's like
so you never see it coming. So it's always a problem. This guy's 2-4. He's proven that he sucks against southpaw. So I'm gonna go.
I want everybody to know that I can punch, but I was going over the arm of the microphone stand.
He can't punch, y'all. He's lying.
So it wasn't as bad as it should.
It looked. I wasn't gonna say anything, but I'm glad you was honest and told it so, because that was. Woo.
You pick Rebecky?
I'm picking Rebecky.
All right, let's move on because I don't want to relive this moment any longer. Next up, moving to the big boys because we're moving further into the card, and they get heavier as we go. Well, not really the whole time. They get heavy, then they get light, then they get real heavy. Yeah. Alonzo Atomic Menifield, he got what he wanted. He asked for... Oh, I'm sorry, Joaquin Buckley asked for this fight. Okay. Menifield is fighting Carlos Olberg.
Okay.
This is going to be a good fight. You got 15-3-1 Menifield taking on Olberg, who's 10-1. Both guys haven't lost in a while. Menifield drew to Crute, but then they fought again, and he subbed him. Olberg's 5-0 in his last 5. Been in the UFC for a little while. This is going to be a good fight, an impressive fight. This is where power is going to come into play a lot. The odds are plus 220 for Menifield, minus 270 for Olberg. But more importantly than that, power comes into play where odds matter way less because it takes these boys one hit to just completely unfold the other guy's life.
Big guys, man.
It's going to be impressive. What do you think? What do you think's the game plan coming in?
Well, I think one guy's going to mix it up and one guy's going to just throw hands because I'm looking at these records and your boy Olberg is knocking guys out.
Yeah.
And the thing that kind of baffled me a little bit was his takedown accuracy. Am I looking at 77% here for Olberg? Or am I misreading that information right there? Takedown accuracy.
Of the ones he shoots, he hits him 3/4 of the time.
So that means that's pretty good.
Now the downside there is he on average shoots 1 per match.
Exactly.
So it's like it depends.
Skews the numbers a little bit. So, but I mean, it's there.
Yeah.
So that means he's a mixed martial artist, and this other guy looks like a guy who throws hands.
And it also looks like when he does get the takedown, when he shoots the takedown, he's attempting a submission as well.
Yes, I see that.
So
too.
there's finishing at attempts at least.
Yeah,
going
I'm not just
on.
taking it down to lean on it and get control time, so I win with a unanimous decision.
And he does have two submission victories.
So there you go.
Most recently, a submission victory against Jung at UFC 293, where Strickland took the belt from Izzy. This is also going to be a good one. I think Olberg is going to continue his rise. He hasn't lost since March of 2021, his UFC debut. He's 5-0 since then. I think he's going to continue that. I know Menifield's, he's a bad problem, being 4-0-1 in his last 5.
Yeah.
But he lost that decision to William Knight. Jimmy Crute is a bad dude as well, but drawing that time, it shows that he's beatable. Ulberg has been fighting in dominant form recently. He's had that submission go to the end, but most of his fights are ending pretty early. I think Jimmy Crute, or Carlos Ulberg, sorry. I just was looking at Crute's name again. Carlos Ulberg for the victory here.
I was going to agree with you, but I feel like being a little bit controversial.
That's fair.
Significant strikes. He has a pretty decent number, which means I'm hitting you hard in places that matter, right?
Yep.
It's at like 67, 68%.
Shots that do
damage, right? The most damage?
That hurt. Yeah.
So I'm looking at his losses. It's not to scrubs like Ovin St. Preux in 2020 when he was actually still decent.
You're right.
So he's facing veterans. He's beaten a few veterans as well. I'm going to go with the upset. I'm going to take Menifield. Alonzo.
Nice.
What's his nickname again?
Atomic.
God, it's a terrible nickname. No, it's not bad. Alonzo Atomic.
At least he's a knockout hitter, so he's like, I got that atomic power.
Yeah, I guess it's not bad.
Something like that.
So I'm going to go with the upset, Menifield.
Now, this next one is the one that Buckley was asking for. He was trying to fight UFC St. Louis. That's the one I thought I was saying.
Mm-hmm.
He's taking on Nursulton Ruziboev.
Another tall guy.
Another good guy. Nursulton Ruziboev is very good. He's 2 fights into the UFC, but he's 5-0 in his last 5. 34-8-2 in his career. 12-1 by KO and 20-1 by submission. Joaquin Buckley is a knockout artist, but he's been knocked out a couple times. 18-6 in his career. 13-4 by KO. Never been subbed. Typically, his fights don't go to the ground because he's swanging.
Yeah.
This is a big fight. Everybody knows the Buckley name. New Mansa is the nickname.
So Buckley asked for him?
Buckley asked to fight at UFC St. Louis.
Okay.
Yeah, he fought in March, at the end of March, and he won by KO first round. So he's like, I'm still fresh.
Okay.
Let me ask for St. Louis. They booked it real quick, and bada bing, bada boom, we're here.
That's 2 months ago. Good guy. Okay,
Yeah.
well, I guess 1 round, you're still fresh.
Man, Both guys fought on the same card.
This guy has 100% takedown accuracy?
In the UFC. Yeah, he's only fought twice.
And he's averaging like almost 4 takedowns.
Yeah.
Pretty significant.
He knocked out both those guys in the UFC, so he took him down. A lot of that was like he was beating the shit out of him, and then he took him down and then ground and pound for the finish.
Okay, I get you. I get you.
But yeah, he's dominant so far in the UFC. He looks like a monster. Talking about Ruziboev, that is.
Mm-hmm.
But Buckley, Buckley's a great fighter in his own right.
He's a southpaw.
Southpaw's a good thing. Ruziboev's kickboxing. That's one of those things where they throw those kicks from anywhere, at any time, for any reason. It's a toss-up on the odds. Anything can happen here.
I would think there'd be more reach with him being 5'10" versus 6'5", but the reach is the same.
I go with the Uzbek. I'm feeling Nursulton. I thought he was going to win both his fights coming into the UFC, once against Cedric Dumas and then the other against Bruno Ferreira.
Mm-hmm.
Joaquin Buckley has crazy knockout power, but I think Ruziboev is more well-rounded, which is going to cause the fight to kind of lean towards Ruziboev's favor.
So this guy looks bigger than 170. Both these guys look huge.
Yeah, they're both going to be fighting at like 200 pounds.
At 200 pounds, which is crazy. These cats cut
weigh
so much away.
and
That's so unhealthy for your liver.
Completely yoked.
But, ooh, tough one. I'm going to go with, was the Sultan his name?
Nursulton, Ruziboev.
Ruziboev.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with him. Not going to act like I know about these guys, because I have no freaking idea who these guys are. I've heard of Buckley a little bit. And I heard rumblings of this new guy who not from here and this, that, and third. But looking at the stats and whatnot, I mean, I'm gonna go with the favorite right now, and hopefully that works for me.
Yeah, hope it pans out.
Hope it pans out.
All right, let's go to the main event.
There we go.
Which is sure to not last the whole fight, in my opinion.
Somebody's getting knocked the hell out.
The Black Beast, Derrick Lewis. His balls were hot. Took his shorts off, all the things. This is going to be an exciting fight. I think, like I said, it's going to be an under kind of fight. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a knockout. Derrick Lewis is currently projected to be the favorite, minus 162.
Really?
Nascimento is strong, just as strong.
Yeah.
But
is he knockout strong?
More of a ground game.
Yeah.
Not leaning on the ground game from Nascimento, but he has more of a ground game. He's got 6 submission victories, never been subbed, 2-1 by KO, wins a bunch by decision. Yeah. Derrick Lewis is 22-7 by KO and 1-2 by sub. So if you get Derrick Lewis on the ground, it's hard for him to get back up if you can hold him.
He's a big boy.
Right. It's hard to get 300 pounds up.
If he ever get in shape, got in shape, I wonder how. I remember one year he did get in shape. A little run he had to the title.
A few fights ago, I think probably his last loss, he had a 6-pack.
Really?
Big boy had a 6-pack. It was crazy.
Wow. No. What is it? Popeye's commercial that he had? He like Popeye's chicken or something?
It was
like
huge. But yeah, Derrick, this is gonna be a knockout. I do not see these boys lasting to the cards. I just don't see it. I think it's going to be because Almeida in Derrick Lewis's last fight, it's a big wrestling problem. Mm-hmm. I think knowing that you're coming into another wrestler, it's going to, like, your camp's going to be aiming for that twice in a row. So I think he's just thinking about wrestling.
Yeah.
Thinking about being able to defend it. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go with the Derrick Lewis knockout.
Nascimento, that's how I said?
Rodrigo Nascimento.
He tries to submit people a lot, which is looking at his stuff. Excuse me, sorry about that. Man, Derrick Lewis hits so freaking hard, man.
He does.
Like, good God. Like, he's always in a fight because he's just got to touch you one time. If you got a guy trying to submit you versus a guy that's going to try to, like, brawl and strike with you, as long as Derrick Lewis doesn't get taken down, I see him win this fight. He gets taken down. I seen him look like a beach whale on that ground. Like, he just cannot get up. A turtle on his back. So, and then you have a guy who's a Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt on top of you who has some submissions, but he has been knocked out too. In 2020 was the last time he was knocked out. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick Derrick Lewis because I like Derrick Lewis.
I like Derrick Lewis too.
And he's just like the guy who never goes away.
It's hard for bias not to set in when you're doing a bunch of picks as well.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
I like Derrick Lewis. I like the picks. This is going to be a good week of UFC. But yeah, I think that pretty much wraps up everything. I'd like to say thank you for coming, Marquest.
Thanks for having me.
It's been fun. Check us out next week where we recap UFC St. Louis and we move forward back to another Apex card, UFC Fight Night. Barbosa versus Murphy.
He's still fighting.
Yeah, Edson Barbosa still fighting at 38. It's going to be a good one. Thanks, guys. Love y'all. Bye.
Peace.